Hello, I'm Austin Heyman. Welcome to Seniors Today, a monthly program produced by the Commission on Aging and devoted entirely to issues and interests of Montgomery County seniors. This month we have both of this year's Neil Potter Path of Achievement Award winners and short videos about them. But first, we have spoken a number of times on this show about vision issues for seniors. But hearing loss can be just as difficult for some seniors. Joining me to talk to us about this issue is Susan Yaffe-Ozioli, Director of Audiology for the Treatment and Learning Center's Family Hearing Center. Well, welcome back to Seniors Today. It's nice to have you.
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
I recently saw a study by Johns Hopkins Medical Center that showed that there was some correlation between hearing loss and falls and dementia for people over 50, not only for the onset of dementia, but also for faster decline in functioning. Is this a valid study?
Absolutely. I'm familiar with that study, and I'm glad that research was recently came out, because we, for many years, audiologists have talked about the relationship between memory and hearing loss and cognitive development and hearing loss. But now we actually have some research to support that. And it's fascinating what the research has shown.
So is there a growing population of people who are not paying attention to their hearing loss?
I think there is, and I think what's also happened is that as people are getting older and living longer, because of the brain and its ability to remember things and also to process information, if the brain isn't able to process what it hears, then obviously people have more difficulty with cognitive development and memory. But if the brain isn't receiving information because an individual has hearing problems, then there's no way that the brain is going to be able to process that information anyway. So we're finally starting to see that there is a relationship between the ear and the brain.
So what causes hearing loss? Just aging?
Aging is certainly a significant reason why people have hearing loss. Sometimes medications can cause
Really?
hearing loss. There are certain medications that are listed. I always tell my patients to read the information that comes with their medication, because it may indicate an ear disorder, such as tinnitus or dizziness or hearing problems. Sometimes noise exposure.
Well, I think I had that experience years ago. I had tinnitus and went to see somebody, and they said, had you ever used a rifle or a gun? And I did in basic training.
Right, and that definitely can affect the way people hear, and it can cause damage to the ears, yes.
Usually it's the higher range that starts to go?
Yes, it is, yes. It's the higher range that tends to go first. With noise exposure and even with aging, the aging process. So what happens is people tend to lose those high pitches first. The sounds that we speak that are high-pitched sounds are some of the consonant sounds in speech. So consequently, those are the sounds that give us better understanding and clarity of words. So that's what people notice first. They'll mix the way they mix up what they hear. They might hear the word dog when it's really fog. So different sounds that will cause clarity issues.
So what are the things one can do to deal with hearing loss?
Well, there are many things, but the very first thing individuals need to do is recognize that a problem exists. And
I think some of us are reluctant to it's another sign of aging, or we don't want to bother with it, or it's one more thing.
Absolutely. And sometimes that's one thing, and sometimes people don't even realize it exists, because sometimes hearing loss is very gradual. So it's normally a family member or a coworker who indicates to them that they're not hearing as well. So the very first thing to do is always have a hearing evaluation. What people don't realize is when they go to a hearing evaluation, especially older individuals, they'll say that they expect that they're going to hear that they need a hearing aid, but it isn't always a hearing aid. Sometimes it's a medical issue that needs to be addressed, and the hearing evaluation would demonstrate that.
And so let's assume that the decision is that you need some kind of hearing aid. Is there a variety there? I mean, there's a lot of choice, or what?
Yes.
How do you decide what to?
It can be very confusing. And I think sometimes, in all honesty, people avoid getting them because they feel overwhelmed by all the options that are available. So my advice always is to find an audiologist who you feel you trust and you feel you can work closely with. That audiologist will look at the results of your hearing evaluation, ask you about your lifestyle, determine what needs you have, and based on that, they will make recommendations for hearing aids. Typically, what I'll do is I'll make recommendations for 2 or 3 different ones because the price does vary, but the technology varies, and that's very important for most people.
Now, you work at the Treatment and Learning Center. This is the kind of thing that you do there.
Yes, we do, yes.
Maybe if folks would like more information, you could tell us your website?
Yes, the website is www.ttlc.org. Our phone number is 301-738-1415, and you do not need a referral to come in to see us. You can call, and our secretary will ask you some questions and set up an appointment with you.
Now, the technology, I understand, has changed like with everything else.
Yes.
Is it also
yearly.
Is it also getting more expensive? I mean, there's a tremendous range in price, isn't there?
You know what? There is a tremendous range in price, and it does depend on the technology that you get. I've been working as an audiologist for 35 years. Cost-wise, it's not that it's getting more expensive because there's a variety of price points, but the technology truly is improving. I'm seeing people now who are much more satisfied with their hearing aids, with their amplification, than I've seen over the years,
well,
and it's
good.
very exciting.
That's good news. Is there any insurance that can the cost?
That's a good question. It depends on an individual's insurance. Unfortunately, Medicare does not cover the cost of hearing aids. It covers the cost of an evaluation, but there are some insurance providers that do cover hearing aids or a portion of the hearing aid cost, and we help individuals find out whether or not they have coverage.
Well, you've given us a lot of information today. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thanks for inviting me.
When we come back, we'll introduce you to one of this year's Path of Achievement Awards, so please stay with us. We'll be right back.
Did you know there are more than 10,000 county government phone numbers? But there's only one number you need to remember for non-emergency calls, 311. MC311 is Montgomery County government's online telephone information system. Need information? Have a problem or complaint? Trying to locate a county government facility? Call 311. The call center is open Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. The website is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Welcome back to Seniors Today. The Neil Potter Path of Achievement Awards honors 2 county residents each year whose lifetime volunteer service and commitment to the county make them outstanding role models for young and old alike. And joining me now is one of this year's winners, Joe Howard, who among other things started the county's outdoor education program for the entire county public school system. Well, congratulations, Joe, and welcome.
Thank you.
Outdoor education is an amazing thing. You've gone on from that to do some other things as well. I understand you worked with Neil Potter to create the Montgomery County's Conservation Corps.
Well, that's not quite true. Neil gets the credit for that. I got involved after he got the Corps created.
You kept it going.
That's right. We worked on how it would operate.
And what kind of things did the Conservation Corps do? It still goes on today.
Yes, they did. Well, as the name implies, conservation. They worked out of doors. They planted trees. They made gardens, things of that sort. But they also had a carpentry shop.
Yeah.
They did a lot of woodworking things. And they also did what you might call social services, cleanups,
right.
things of that sort.
And then you started something called the County's Champion Tree Program. What's that?
Well, just about every county has trees, and it seems like the only time we heard about them is when they were cutting them down, when they were putting in a new housing development or widening a road, something like that. So we thought that if we gave them some notoriety to begin with, that maybe we'd have a better chance of saving them. So we started identifying the biggest trees of different species. Started out small, but it's grown over the years, and we've got some spectacular trees that people know about now.
That you've saved.
Well, not me. I just got other people involved.
That's terrific. Now, you were also involved with the cleanups in Sligo Creek Parkway. What's that about?
Well, I live down by Sligo Creek Parkway, and there's a very active group down there called Friends of Sligo Creek. This time of year, they're out every week pulling up invasive exotic weeds, and they do cleanup several times a year along the creek and in the creek even. And so, being a neighbor, I got involved with them because I was already doing them, picking up the litter. And since I bike along Sligo Creek, I just make it a point of picking up litter when
As you go along?
That's right.
Are we getting better or worse at this?
We're staying the same. The saddest part about it is it doesn't seem to get any better. I mean, I do it just about every week, and I always get at least 2 bags of trash.
Wow. Well, trees and the environment are high priorities for you. I can see that.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you for doing what you're doing. It's just terrific. And now here's the short video about Joe that was shown the night of the awards ceremony.
Yeah, I'm Joe Howard. I grew up on the eastern shore of Maryland, a little town called Easton, and started teaching here in Montgomery County in the 50s. After I got my master's degree, I went back to the eastern shore and taught down there in a little country school for 4 years. There were 5 teachers, one of which I was, and I was the principal and also a part-time school bus driver down there. So there I was, teaching 6th grade, being principal of the school, and had a bus at my command. And in the spring days like this, I can remember telling the kids, now look, boys and girls, if we get all our work done this morning, this afternoon we can go look and find some of the historic places in Talbot County. As a teacher, you're always looking to try to be as effective as you can. And I got into something that I thought achieved good results. So I pursued that. And I got other people interested in it. But, and I get a lot of credit for getting this program that's system-wide. The fact of the matter is, when I started this, all I was interested in was my school, Four Corners Elementary School. I wasn't thinking this is the beginning of a county-wide program. I was just trying to figure out the best thing we could do for our kids at Four Corners. In living in an environmental sensitive life has just been a part of the way we work with everybody, including our grandchildren. mainly it's like outdoor education. It's learning by doing, and that's kind of what I pass on to them. Get involved. I gave my daughter Melinda a book about 50 things you can do to lead an environmental conscious life, and she went through it and she said, "Dad, you've already told us all this stuff." Nat Reed was the Assistant Secretary of the Interior, Nathaniel Reed, wonderful man. And I was kind of a closet litter getter. You know, I didn't like to do it in front of anybody. And we had a conference up in Shenandoah National Park, and we walked out on big meadows for a little conference like with this group of people. I noticed the whole way out there, Nathaniel Reed he saw any litter, he picked it up. I figured, look, if this man, in the position he's in, Assistant Secretary of the Interior, why should I be so shy about it? So ever since then, I go ahead and pick up litter when I see it, regardless of what people say. So I've been doing that ever since. I kind of feel like this award is basically for picking up litter and pulling up weeds.
For those dealing with the daily struggles of caring for a loved one, we hear you. That's why AARP created a community with experts and other caregivers to help us better care for ourselves and the ones we love.
Are you sure they can recycle us, Clamshell?
Hey, Dome, we're on a new recycling postcard.
I can't wait to make a new start. Maybe I'll be a red carpet at a big premiere.
And I'll get to paint the White House.
Shh, here he comes. Now you can recycle more plastics in Montgomery County, including #1 PET plastics such as clamshells, deli containers, trays, lids, domes, and cups. We're in! For more information on recycling, contact the Montgomery County, Maryland Division of Solid Waste Services at 311. The wait is over. Recycle more plastics today.
Welcome back to Seniors Today. This year's second Neil Potter Path of Achievement Award went to Mona Negum. Well, welcome, Mona. Congratulations.
Thank you, Austin. Thank you very much. Thank you.
So you've been in this country for what, 54 years?
Yes.
From Egypt.
Yes.
And you got involved in volunteering, I guess, in the District of Columbia a long time ago.
Yes. I think my experience as first-generation immigrant and my feeling of loneliness, helplessness, and all that, all these emotions
was instructive.
Was instructive in getting me involved in the field of aging, and especially with first-generation immigrants. I worked with the Department of Washington Department of Recreation, and I ended up falling in love with the seniors, and that's how I started. And then went into Rockville and then started working again
At the Rockville Senior Center.
With the Rockville Senior Center, the pump house, and then into working with the churches and the community, and became very, very involved in developing a sort of like the network to help support seniors, especially people, special population. It became my passion.
And you were on the Commission on Aging for several years. We
yes,
worked together.
Absolutely.
And,
Absolutely.
and then you decided that the Muslim Community Center needed a senior program.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Tell us about that.
It is a wonderful, wonderful program. It is basically developed by, with, and for seniors. People are 55 plus. Most of our seniors are first-generation immigrants. And they represent literally 57 different countries of origin. Wow. So you can imagine the wealth of resources and how vibrant it is when they all get together. And
challenging.
And challenging. But I must say, they make it work. I can't do it by myself, but they make it work. And what the secret of the success of this program is the partnership that we have developed within MCC across the board with the Muslim community and with Montgomery County agencies and organizations, and especially Health and Human Services, the Commission on Aging. I mean, they are key players in the success of this program. We've developed incredible services. The most important thing that we developed, especially with this first generation immigrant, is an education outreach campaign.
That's so important.
Absolutely, to let them know about aging issues, because they have no experience
and where to
aging
get
in this
and where to
country.
get some resource, where to get help.
Where the resources are, how to access them. So to do that, we have developed, again, it's a collaborative effort with the Commission on Aging, with Aging and Disability Services, and with our community to channel information, to reach out to those most in need, but to make it accessible and acceptable in their own language. So we recruited something like 15 senior ambassadors to go into the community, reaching out to the isolated and the sick. We recruited young ambassadors who specialize in social media, since most of our seniors are really not that well versed into social media.
And you also had the transportation issues.
We have absolutely.
You had mentioned to me earlier that mental health was a real challenge.
It is. It is. We have a new initiative right now, and it is. We're hoping that it's in its embryonic stage, but we're hoping that we develop it into a best practice model in the county. It combines mental health as well as health promotion and disease prevention.
You have done so many wonderful things, but we want to show folks the video. So here's the short video about Mona that was shown the night of the award ceremony.
Thank you. I am Mona Negam, and I have been in the United States for the past 52 years. I am a resident of Montgomery County. I've been living in Montgomery County for the past 45 years. I raised my children here. We got our education here at the University of Maryland, so Montgomery County is my home. As a new immigrant, I couldn't speak the language and I didn't understand the culture, and so we went through phases of reorientation where I had to learn how to adapt to my new culture, and it was a struggle. The pain of just being so totally, completely alone, and you could be in a crowd. You could be in the middle of a crowd and be so alone. You know, you could never imagine that. And surrounded in a party, and you'd be so alone because you're trapped inside a body that doesn't know anybody, doesn't know how to communicate, doesn't know the culture. You don't know if you go hug somebody, if they're gonna look at you strange. You don't know if you make a pot of grape leaves to somebody, if she's gonna turn green and run away from you. You don't know. So it was very difficult. It was very, very difficult. And that's what gave me the passion to help others who are in the same boat, you know. And it's a healing process. It's a healing process. How to learn how to listen to other people, how to understand their culture. If you really want to reach out to their heart, know where they're coming from, understand their needs. Don't go in preaching and pretending that you know something that better than they are. They have treasures inside, experience that people have no idea they have, and you can learn a lot from them. So that's the beginning. I feel I'm so fortunate. I am so fortunate that I'm able to that He has put me through this road so I can get to a point when my life is about, I'm in the last stage of my life. And to be able to give back, and to be able to have the health, and to have the mind, and to have all that experience, and to have the education, and to be able to give that, to be needed. It's the most incredible gift. It's the most wonderful blessing that God has ever given me, is the ability to give back. It's to be needed and to have something that others want. What more can one want? That is, for me, that's rich. It's like touching the face of God.
Well, that's it for this month's Seniors Today. Don't forget that you can access a great deal of information about county services for seniors by going to the Montgomery County Senior website at www.montgomerycountymd.gov/seniors, or call the Senior Resource Line at 240-777-3000. And as always, thank you for watching Seniors Today.
In Montgomery County, nearly a third of pedestrian collisions occur in parking lots, and a significant number cause severe injuries. Avoid becoming a statistic. Pedestrians don't get run over. Walk first, text later. Take out the earbuds. Don't assume drivers see you. Drivers don't run over people. It's illegal to hold a phone or text while driving. Slow down. Don't assume pedestrians see you, especially when backing out. Heads up in parking lots, because safety is everyone's responsibility.
The 2014 gubernatorial primary election is almost here. Make your voting experience a pleasant one by following these tips. Know your polling place. Review your sample ballot. Decide how you will vote, and mark your sample ballot to use as a guide before arriving. Vote mid-morning to avoid long lines. You may also vote in advance of Election Day during early voting or by casting an absentee ballot. Remember, your time, your voice, your vote.